What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we do have some updates in the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the Definitive Edition saga, with Take-Two finding some help from what should be an expected but is also a very unlikely source. We'll go over that one here today. Also, we are going to be talking about some Black Friday sales that have popped up specifically from Walmart, and we're going to be going over that big Xbox anniversary stream as they had a massive announcement at the end that set the internet buzzing. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the SpawnWave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with an update from a story yesterday, specifically about that Grand Theft Auto Trilogy and how it was removed from PC with that Rockstar game launcher. It looks like it has now returned, and we do have a response from Rockstar and Take-Two. We can see this over on VGC, where Take-Two says, "We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. We are also working to improve and update overall performance as we move forward. We would like to thank everyone for their patience as we resolve these issues." And we can see here, after 3 days when it went offline, the PC version of Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy Definitive Edition can finally be accessed again via the Rockstar launcher after they had updated and removed some of those files that were found, whether it was the alleged hot coffee mod that was still in the game, or the different things like dev notes that were found that seemed pretty aggressive at times, and the music, which was probably the biggest thing here because I'm sure they didn't have all the rights ironed out for all of those tracks that were just left in there but were not accessible. Once again, though, it does kind of point towards the concerns around an all-digital future, considering they're able to just pull down that version. You have no access to it until they reinstate it, which took about 3 days. Also, we did have a look at the UK sales charts from last week. This gives us our first indication as to how games like Forza Horizon 5 and Shin Megami Tensei 5 did at retail. We can see the chart here. Starting at the top, Call of Duty Vanguard still #1, despite it having a pretty big drop-off from the week prior. Nonetheless, though, Call of Duty puts up pretty good numbers either way, so dropping down from a very large number to this would be like still a large number in general. FIFA 22 still at 2. Animal Crossing New Horizons jumps all the way up to #3. Forza Horizon 5 debuts at 4. Remember, this is for boxed copies, and a lot of us assume digital on the Xbox much higher than retail, and then you take into account the Game Pass subscriptions. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, though, at 5. Jurassic World Evolution 2 at 6. Mario Party Superstars 7. Minecraft on the Switch. And then we have to go down to #9 for Shin Megami Tensei 5, rounding out the top 10 with Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, Shin Megami Tensei 5 actually did pretty well when you compare it to other JRPGs. For example, despite it coming in at #9, the box sales are 60% higher than Bravely Default 2, 43% higher than Monster Hunter Stories 2, and 23% higher than Tales of Arise, which that was on PlayStation and Xbox platforms. Now, as for Forza Horizon 5, box sales were down over 80% from the previous game, that being in 2018, for Forza Horizon 4, although we see GamesIndustry.biz pointing out Game Pass, the digital shift that we see right now in the games industry and all this. And we already heard numbers from Microsoft when it comes to engagement, which is what they're very much focused on right now. Over 7 million, apparently approaching 8 million players in the game, and that's what they're looking for. Get you to sign up for things like Game Pass, because they figure once they get you in the door and you see the selection of games, you'll most likely stick around. They're looking to build this long-term over the generations, so as they release more and more games, they could bring in more subscriptions. They don't necessarily care as much at retail, but Shin Megami Tensei 5, that's very good for it in the UK. We'll see how things continue as we get numbers from Japan and then eventually the NPD in the US. Oh, and speaking of sales numbers, Doug Bowser also shared numbers when it comes to how the Switch did in the US with the NPD, specifically though that OLED model. We can see this over on Nintendo Life. In October, Nintendo sold 711,000 Switch consoles across the US, with 314,000 of those being the OLED model. In fact, Doug Bowser actually mentioned that they are selling the OLED model to people who already had a Switch. I guess that's just some of the data they have collected, and that's what we've talked about before. Nintendo wants to have many Switch systems in each household, and that's one of the ways they could eventually get to the DS, because that's something the DS had. It had the advantage of many DS systems being purchased per household. That's how it got over 150 million units sold. And I don't know if the Switch will get there. It's at least on a trajectory that may, depending on how long this generation lasts, but be able to sell the system again and again to basically the same person as they go along is a way that they can push those numbers up, potentially to DS-like numbers. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Xbox anniversary show that they did for the live stream. It was a premiere, so they had already filmed it, and all this wasn't just like a sit-down live stream where they could take hours, and they've done this before with things like Inside Xbox. So I was very happy with the overall length of this presentation, and they announced some pretty cool things. For example, we'll start from the top. Power On, which is a 6-part Xbox documentary that will be premiering, they said towards the end of this year. It's a 6-part documentary, and then you'll have it on different streaming platforms, but it's gonna follow the Xbox from start, I guess, to now, and even pointing out the Red Ring of Death. I'm curious, kind of the backroom conversation when that was going on, and it sounded like it was pretty hectic at that point. Then we had more backwards compatible games that were added. This is something expected, but over 70 games were added. And you go through the list, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, like, they have all of the Fear games in there, which will have FPS boost. So you will see, for example, the original Fear with that crazy spike gun, 60 FPS. They also added in Dead or Alive Ultimate, Dead or Alive 3. Like, you go down the list, you'll see some very surprising ones in here as well, which includes Time Splitters 2 and Time Splitters Future Perfect. I mean, they have Gun Valkyrie, they have Advent Rising, and even 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. It doesn't get much better than this. The only unfortunate piece of news is, 1, there's no Jet Set Radio Future, and 2, this appears to be the final update they will be doing for backwards compatibility. I guess the team's moving on to do other things, and yeah, that's unfortunate because, again, there are some games like Jet Set Radio that will just, I guess, never come to the Xbox series or the generation beyond that, but still, this was a pretty substantial update when it comes to legacy software now being playable on the current line of Xbox systems. They also announced the Xbox streaming series in 2022 with a short trailer, and then it looks like the rumors were true. Halo Infinite Multiplayer Season 1 launched immediately following the presentation. It had a little bit of a rough start, specifically on Xbox, where there was like this blue screen, but eventually that got worked out with an update that was pushed. On Steam, it just went live immediately. In fact, over 100,000 concurrent players were on Steam playing in the first hour. Halo Infinite is going to be massive over the coming weeks. We're going to see, I'm sure, big player count numbers being shared as we did with Forza Horizon 5. I think Halo is going to be much larger even than that. We could see 10 million people in Halo Infinite before launch potentially, and they presented this as a beta, which is smart. That's what I've been saying for a while since we had those original flights that I thought got better and better as we went along, especially when we got to the final one. I said, hey, just launch it as a beta, run it up to the release of the campaign and the official game in retail stores, and collect data up until that point to make improvements, maybe with a day 1 patch. But by framing it as a beta, you can launch it early without saying you're actually launching it early. And I mean, it's Season 1 that's now started. That's Heroes of Reach, so that'll be pretty fun. And it's really cool. It's a great surprise. I know it was kind of spoiled with rumors, but even that was back and forth. And could Pringles really be telling the truth? Well, apparently they were. So exciting stuff there. If you have not already checked it out, do so, because it's not even behind Game Pass. It's just a free download. You just go on there, and that's great, because that was one way I thought they might try to navigate this, is put it behind Game Pass, get you to sign up. No, you can just download it. You don't even need Xbox Live Gold. So yeah, definitely check out Halo Infinite. I'm going to be playing it all week, and I'll look to give my thoughts this weekend. But I got to say that for the Xbox anniversary stream, for what a lot of us were going and expecting, I think it turned out pretty good. Next up, let's talk about that Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, because we know it's not going over well for Take-Two or Rockstar. The games themselves are just so messed up and broken. They're not ready for release. Unfortunately, they've been released and they're out there, and it's that situation of, we'll fix it later. Well, it looks like the community isn't going to be waiting around for Rockstar, Take-Two, or Grove Street Games to get it done. Take a look at this. This is posted up by Eurogamer. Modders get to work on GTA Trilogy despite takedown concerns. You might be wondering, what do they mean takedown concerns? Well, GTA Trilogy's disastrous launch came after a concerted campaign from Take-Two to scrub the internet of mods related to GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Take-Two even sued some of the people who reverse engineered GTA code. And I know that's kind of in this gray area. Modern Vintage Gamer covered this very well, so I would check out his channel with the video he did, kind of going over the backstories, some of the pitfalls that maybe the modders fell into here, and what Take-Two is trying to do, which mostly seems like, yes, they're trying to throw their weight around in the courtroom. But once again, that's not stopping the community. In fact, on Reddit, there's an entire subreddit that has now been formed very recently called GTA Trilogy Mods. Just take a look at this. Over 1,300 members have already come together with this subreddit, and they're just going through different ways to fix this game. You can see a post here, all hands on deck. Let's fix this game and make it better. There are actual tutorials, how to unpack the game files for modding, so on and so forth. GTA Trilogy is now up on Nexus Mods. In fact, they're already to the point where they have removed that annoying rain and actually made it look better. They're trying to figure out first-person mode. They're just, overall, trying to fix the game so, it's ready to come out. And this is that internal conflict, because if you're the community right now and you're looking what Take-Two has been doing leading up to the release of this game, not just pulling down like the original copies of these games that were up on like the PlayStation, no, actually going after the modding community who was playing around with the games and just for the love of the game itself, trying to make it better, more compatible with hardware now, adding in more content, reverse engineering it for different platforms. It's been moved to the Vita, and you know what? That Vita version has been compared to current versions of the GTA Trilogy on the Switch, and the Vita version is better. So I'm sure they're looking at this saying, we can fix it, but should they? Because to me, I'd be like, hey, good luck, Take-Two. Hope you can get this all worked out by the holidays or, by next year. Maybe they're just looking at it like, we really like these games. There's a platform here. We can fix this. My concern now is, does Take-Two come in and just start striking all this stuff down? Do they push more lawsuits? Because based on their history, they probably will. So while I'm sure the community is excited to get to work on them, I don't really know if Take-Two deserves it. Next up, let's talk about a Black Friday sale going live at Walmart November 22nd. And you know what? They look pretty good, especially for someone who's been holding out on some of the bigger releases this year to see if we would see like a $15, $20 discount on these games. It looks like you will. We can see this circular ad that was put out by Walmart. And you can start at the top, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 online only starting November 22nd. Good luck to everyone out there. There's no sale. It's legitimately just, we have them. So there you go. But then we can see some of the games. They have them broken down in different categories. $14, $20, $25, $26, $35, and $39, but starting from $14, you can see Mario Rabbids, UFC, Watch Dogs Legion, which it's pretty funny that Watch Dogs Legion is already down to $14. Lego Worlds, but then you go up to like $20, you see Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PS5, Super Monkey Ball already at $20 there. Sonic Colors, yeah, it was off to a rough start. They have been patching it, and $20 isn't too bad. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, also a good buy there. You move up to $25. Mass Effect Trilogy at $25 is an absolute steal, but then Deathloop. Deathloop's already $25. It was very fast. Back 4 Blood is also in there, and Monster Hunter Rise. I also want to point out Hot Wheels has kind of gone on the radar, but it is a lot of fun. If you're a fan of the sports titles and you've been waiting for a discount there, for some reason, they have it up as $26. I don't know why they wouldn't have just made it $25 and thrown it into that category, but nonetheless, there's Madden, FIFA, NHL, and NBA. I do want to point out NHL 22 because while I'm not really into all the sports games or kept up on them, there have been a lot of people saying that NHL 22 this year is one of the best NHL games that we've ever seen, or at least in recent memory. So not too bad there if you're a hockey fan. Moving up to $35. Far Cry 6 is already down to $35, so there you go. You also have Paper Mario, the newest Madden on the PlayStation 5. And then you have Guardians of the Galaxy, which I will completely recommend Guardians of the Galaxy at $35. I think that's a good pickup. At $39, you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Cold War, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and Super Mario Maker 2. And then they also point out they're at our low price with Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Also, pretty funny, if you look at Call of Duty Vanguard, that's one of their big specials that says they'll have a price to be revealed on the 24th. Can't wait for that. But then you can see we do have PlayStation Plus marked down $20 to $40, and we have the Switch, of course, $300. That's the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle with that V2 Switch. So people were saying, hey, you know what? It's still not a bad pickup. I still lean towards the OLED because I think that screen is just worth the extra money there. But hey, if you're mostly a docked player, or you think you're going to be mostly playing docked because this is your first Switch, you know, that's not a bad value then. And then you can see $35 each. We have Breath of the Wild, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I would probably skip Mario Bros. U Deluxe and just go for Breath of the Wild, especially, like I said, if this is your first Switch. Overall, though, not bad, and it appears several of these deals will be available online, especially over that weekend during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So even if you're not going into stores, certainly check out Walmart, I'm sure Best Buy, and Target sites, as it looks like we're gonna have some pretty good discounts with games even like Guardians of the Galaxy and Far Cry 6 falling 30, even 40% in price. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Battlefield 2042. It's gone into this EA Play Early Access, or I guess if you bought the game at like the $100 tier, you get in early. At least for the EA trial program they have that comes with Game Pass Ultimate, so if you have that, you can technically download it. You get 10 hours to just try the game out, which was good because the game has a lot of issues. It was worse when they first released it. It has gotten better, but you see a lot of articles like these pop up that say Battlefield 2042's opening weekend has been a disaster. Hard crashes, server issues, and persistent problems plagued the early launch. And I went through all of this on release night. Basically, the game came out and it was impossible to find a match. You would be going through searching, it would put you in one, and then you'd get kicked out with an error message. I'd have to do 4 or 5 searches, get into a game, get kicked out, until I finally got into one. But even from there, it was laggy, there was glitches all over the place, and I was kind of getting some flashbacks to the beta that I had played in, where even that was pretty rough, but it was a beta, so I kind of expected it. This is like an early access launch, which means there are not as many players now as there will be when the game releases this week. Like, it's out later on this week. It's not officially released, so it's going to get blitzed with a ton of people on these servers. And the one thing I do like about Battlefield is it still has this massive scope, and there are some legitimately cool moments in the game. Like when I was running up to a point and there's a big twister coming through and a helicopter gets sucked in, but I see a bunch of people running from either end of the field. It was really cool to see all of that. But at times the maps feel too large, where you're just kind of running across them because you don't have access to any vehicles around you at the time. I hope they get it worked out, because what they are trying to accomplish, like, legitimately feels groundbreaking in multiplayer. The issue is it might be too groundbreaking for what EA and DICE set out with here, but we'll see how it continues to evolve over time. It is just multiplayer, so there's no campaign. And when you see some of the weapon selections that are kind of limited, the upgrade path not being that compelling, yeah, you might get kind of bored of it even. But let me know if you've played Battlefield 2042 down below and your thoughts so far in early access. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're going to take the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, the Game Awards nominations are revealed tomorrow. Which of the highest rated new games of the year do you think is the favorite to win? Metroid Dread, 53%. All right, then we have Forza Horizon 5 at 20%, Ratchet & Clank 16%, Psychonauts 2 at 7%, and Deathloop at 4%. You know what's funny is I've been talking to a lot of people about the nominations that are going to be coming up today. Deathloop and Returnal keep coming up, and I'm starting to think both of them are going to be in there, which, I mean, you look at this, there's 6 nominations, I believe. There are going to be some games, I think, left out of the Game of the Year conversation that is going to confuse some people. Kind of like that year where Control was in there, and I was like, did I play the same game that everyone else did? That's just the way it is with these Game of the Year nominations, and we'll see how things shape up later on today. Will Forza Horizon 5 be in there? Will Deathloop be in there? Will Metroid Dread be in there? Like I said, a lot of questions, and we'll find out soon. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Bluebird saying, in regards to hot coffee, I remember that GameStop wouldn't accept my copy of San Andreas in a trade because it was the unpatched launch version. Yes, that did happen. After we pulled the games off of store shelves, we also had a follow-up email, I think a day or two later, don't take any of them as trade-in. And they gave us like a I believe, a code. You could look at the disc because it had like a certain number printed on it, like a version number almost. I know the version number was also on the box art, and I think when they put out the second run, they altered the box art somewhat so you could tell right away, okay, this was an original launch version of San Andreas that we cannot take, and this is the newer one that we can. But yeah, that was a very big deal. In fact, I believe when we rang up the box art, like the barcode on the back of that box art of the original, it would actually say in the computer, you cannot take this. You just can't. So we'd have to give it back to them, and there would be a whole conversation there explaining to the mom or dad why we can't take it, which came down to the hot coffee mod, which getting into that was a whole awkward thing at the counter for GameStop. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike, leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Whether it's the Xbox anniversary live stream, let me know what your favorite part was. Was it the backwards compatible games that are added, or was it that big Halo Infinite multiplayer beta drop? And then what about the whole thing with Grand Theft Auto Trilogy? The community's coming together to fix this game, but does Take-Two, Rockstar, and Grove Street actually deserve the help? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.